Just because there's a lot of people, 50, I feel like you don't have to say nothing, but 50's crazy. He's been like this his whole life. When he's on the block, oh shit, 50's coming.
In Hollywood specifically, when you get there, a lot of people don't know how to say no. That's the difference between New York City and California.
What if 50 Cent wasn't just warning Jim Jones? What if he was setting up the biggest hip-hop expose in years? That's the question echoing across the culture after 50 dropped and then quickly deleted a message that sent the entire industry into speculation mode. The post read, "Some of y'all better chill before I reminded the city what really happened. No hashtags, no tags, just a threat laced with precision." Within minutes, fans identified the target. It came right after Jim had thrown shade during an interview claiming, "A lot of these dudes be acting tough for the cameras. We know who really outside." That single line might have been casual talk to some, but to insiders it was a direct jab at 50, a man whose reputation for authenticity is practically trademarked. We've seen 50 respond to disrespect before, but this time felt calculated, almost surgical. The timing was too clean to be coincidence. Just days earlier, he shared a Miami stage with Camron at LIV nightclub, performing side by side while cameras flashed and the crowd roared. That reunion wasn't nostalgia. It was strategy. Camron had long-standing issues with Jim, tension stretching back nearly 2 decades. So when 50 and Cam appeared shoulder to shoulder, fans saw more than a performance. They saw an alliance forming. It wasn't just a concert. It was a declaration of sides.
Damn, like, I gotta find another bubble. You know what I mean? And then slowly but surely, I got out of that phase of just trying to chase ball and make music that I could continue to make money. You know what I mean? And I do believe a hit will come, and a few hits have came since.
The post that followed was like the second move in a chess match. The caption's wording remind the city hit hard because it implied something specific, something rooted in history. People close to both camps say the warning came after 50 learned of Jim's latest remarks and decided to use the moment to draw lines in public. The fact that he deleted it hours later only intensified the mystery. In 50's playbook, deletion rarely means regret. It means the next move is already underway. We can't separate this moment from the history that made it possible. The tension between Gunnet and Dipset isn't just an old rap feud. It's a territorial power struggle that's never fully ended. Back in the early 2000s, both crews defined New York sound from different blocks. Queens versus Harlem, business versus bravado. Even as the hits faded, the egos never did. Camron and Jim Jones's partnership was always complicated. Cam built the empire, Jim tried to expand it. But beneath the surface was a competition for control that outlasted their biggest records.
Take away anything that he's done in his game. I can't, you heard? And that's not it. But as a competitive man, that's all I'm doing is popping my shit. And this is what hip-hop is about. But for the most part, I got no problem with Nas. Shouts to Nas, shouts to all of them.
On Cam's own Rock Solid podcast earlier this year, he admitted, "Our time together as a group lasted only 7 years, yet the disputes have extended far beyond that." He called out Jim's repeated disses. 17 years of subliminals and tracks like Fremies. It was clear he'd moved on while Jim couldn't let go. For Cam, the past was history. For Jim, it was still an open wound. That's what made 50's alignment with Cam so deliberate. It wasn't nostalgia for an old hit. It was leverage. By standing next to Cam, 50 tapped into a grudge already burning. Industry insiders are convinced that 50's warning wasn't about one interview line. It was about control. By reuniting with Cam in front of thousands and making that statement right after, he shifted the narrative. Suddenly, Jim wasn't just another rapper talking slick. He was the man being squeezed out of 2 empires. One he helped build and another he can't challenge. And the fact that 50 waited until the cameras were rolling in Miami before making his move suggests this was no outburst. It was an operation.
Jim don't got a green piece of paper. He don't got none of them kind of songs that make cry. A couple of them, but not 20 of them.
That's a venue with 100
catalog.
That's a venue with 100 niggas.
You better check my jacket. You better check my jacket. You better check my jacket.
We've seen Jim under pressure before, but never like this. His credibility took a massive hit after the Dipset versus the Looks verse battle in 2021. That night, Jadakiss turned the event into a lyrical demolition. leaving Dipset scrambling and fans questioning their legacy. Jim tried to spin it later, saying it was all fun, but viewers saw the truth. The looks came prepared. Dipset came uncoordinated. Since then, Jim's been in recovery mode, leaning into interviews and fashion moments instead of chart-topping singles. The reviews haven't been kind. Critics called his recent output manufactured, saying the raw Harlem grit that once defined him has been replaced by stage confidence and glossy production. That's where 50's post cut deepest. It played on the very thing Jim's been trying to protect, his authenticity. When 50 says, "Remind the city," he's not talking about old rat beefs. He's talking about what people remember, about the unspoken history that still shapes reputations in New York. The suggestion alone that 50 could pull back the curtain on something Jim once buried has fans dissecting every detail. Could it be about business, street alliances, loyalty breaks within Dipset? Nobody knows for sure, but the fear is real because 50 doesn't bluff. When he speaks, there's usually evidence waiting in the vault. It's worth noting that 50's pattern in conflicts is always methodical. He never acts without a plan. The silence after the deletion, the timing with Cam, even the tone of the caption. Each element feels staged to provoke a reaction without giving one. Insiders close to Gunnett say 50's message wasn't retaliation. It was an opening move. He's allegedly preparing something bigger, possibly a televised or documentary-style exposed tide to his expanding media ventures. That's why some analysts think this warning might be more than personal. It could be a prelude to a public reckoning that blends entertainment with revelation, the way 50 loves to mix business with.
Jim ain't in the same league. Me and Jim don't do the same things.
Yeah, don't.
I am a bar master.
That's where it's different, though.
I am a lyrical technician.
Uh-huh.
I've been on joints with some of the best MCs in the world.
Uh-huh.
Big, Hove, Black Thought.
Meanwhile, Jim's position keeps looking weaker. Just weeks before all this, he'd reignited minor tension with other New York artists, including subtle digs at Styles, P, and Jadakiss, trying to assert his dominance after years of criticism. But each move backfired. Styles P dismissed him bluntly, saying, "Me and Jim don't do the same thing. I'm a bar master." The statement spread fast, painting Jim as an artist chasing validation instead of respect. Every time he talks now, the response is skepticism. What's striking is how the timing of everything overlaps. Cam's refusal to reconcile 50's stage appearance, Jim's interviews, and the public silence that followed the warning. It feels like a domino effect that 50 might have orchestrated from the start. Even the optics matter. 50 and Cam trading verses on a Miami stage while Jim is left out of the picture. It's symbolism at its sharpest. The same city that once crowned Dipset is now watching its former general being isolated. There's also talk of 50 using Cam's long-standing resentment as strategic fuel. They share a common rival now, and that unity gives both of them renewed relevance. Behind the scenes, some say Cam sees this as poetic justice, a way to finally get the upper hand on Jim without ever releasing a discer. In 50, he gets to remind the culture that he's still the puppet master who can dominate headlines with a single caption.
There must be some type of misconception or what's that word when it comes to Jim Jones and what Jim Jones have done in this game. A lot of these rappers,
we made them take the darkies off.
A lot of these rappers have done a tremendous job, and I take nothing away from them, but they forget I got a hell of a catalog.
50 Cent.
All of it leaves Jim in a corner. He can't easily fight his way out of Respond publicly, and he risks 50 unloading whatever information he's hinting at. Stay quiet, and the silence reads like fear. It's the kind of trap 50's built his career perfecting. Even veteran media insiders are saying this might be the most calculated public takedown since 50's long-running battles with other industry giants. And yet, what makes it fascinating is how subtle it's been. No diss tracks, no interviews, just one deleted sentence that shifted the entire balance of attention. Every major outlet has picked up the story, analyzing the subtext, and tracing old connections between Gunnett, Dipset, And the streets that shaped them, even fans who lived through the original rivalry, can sense something different this time. The stakes feel higher, the tension heavier. Because if 50's promise to remind the city means what people think it does, then what's coming next could expose more than a feud. It could rewrite reputations. For now, Jim's camp remains silent, and 50 hasn't said another word. But the silence is louder than any verse. And if history has taught us anything about Curtis Jackson, it's that silence never lasts long. He doesn't throw warnings without intent, which means this story and whatever truth he's holding on to isn't finished. 50 Cent didn't just throw shade, he lit a fuse. And if the past is any indication, the explosion is still coming.
Jimmy, because when you think, if I ask anybody in the streets of New York, like, give me some adjective or definition of Jim Jones, what do you think one of the words would be?
I would hope a survivor, a visionary, a philanthropist, a person with a big heart, person that stand on 10 toes. Not perfect. He's a perfect example of what could happen for you in life if you believe in yourself.
Social media drama. It's groundwork for something far bigger. If history repeats itself, 50's next move won't be lyrical. It'll be surgical.